Hello, my name is Tom Stiles, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show 100. 100. 100 show. Kind of struggled over the years to get to my 100th show. And a little history is that I retired about 4 or 5 years ago and started, okay, I'm going to do these videos. Just kind of as a hobby. And I had, some time to do it now that I wasn't working 24/7, or at least 40 or 50 hours a week. So, I started off like gangbusters, doing the videos, cranking things out, learning how to do the shows, and trying to improve my equipment, my setup, my technique, all that hoopla. And then 6 months later, they called me and said, we need you to come back, but it's only part-time. And it's only for a couple months. Oh, okay. I could use the money. It wasn't part-time. It was full-time, and then it was overtime. It wasn't a couple months. It was over a period of time. I didn't work continuous. There was breaks. It was 3 years. So consequently, my hobby for doing the videos, got put on the back burner. So my show, I was only getting, at one point in time, I was only getting like one show a month out. My goal was one show a week. So anyway, 6 months ago, I told them, I finished up a project for them. I told them, okay, that's it. I'm going to retire for good. I'm getting too old. And so I retired. And so I went back to doing my videos. I've been cranking them out. I've been trying to improve things. So we're moving along. So we made it to the 100th show. Took a while. We made it to the 100th show. And what I was hoping to do for the 100th show was something exciting, different, cool. And what that was, and I had actually made plans, instead of just off the spur of the moment, is to review this MFJ World Band Receiver. Now, this is not a new product for them, but it's something I've always been interested in because it takes me back to my early days in amateur radio and radios in general, of building and tinkering with circuits, which I don't do anymore. And I used to buy those Heath kits and build those Heath kit radios. And I loved it. It was like a little kid with a toy. So those days have kind of long gone away. It's hard to find, decent kits. Although there's some out there. So I thought, maybe other people either getting into the hobby might be interested in a kit, or shortwave radio kit, just to kind of get their hands dirty. Or people like me that have been in the hobby for quite a while and have gotten away from the actual innards. They're using all this electronic computer controlled radios, and it's boring. It's actually boring sometimes because you don't, that's why I like these old radios I've got, because you can tinker with them and you got lots of knobs you can turn and twist, and it's just not, turn it on, boom, the computer or microchip does it for you, and it's like, okay, I'm listening to shortwave. Yeah, great, okay. So, anyway, so much for that. I decided, because what happened was, I got one of these about a month ago. Now, what MFJ does is, for people who write reviews or do videos on their equipment, they have a loaner system, where they loan you one of their products. And then you review it, and then you send it back, and there's no cost. Well, I ordered one of these about a month ago so that I have plenty of time to do my 100th show and do it on this product. Unfortunately, when I got it, there was no audio output. It would turn on, the light would come on, the power light, but there was no audio output. And the thing you have to keep in mind, what happens with these loaners is they have these radios, test equipment, stuff like that they loan out, and they cycle them, from person to person to who wants to review it. And they may not, I'm guessing now at this point, they may not have had a chance that when this came back, there was no report from the previous person that demoed it that there was a problem. And so my timing was perfect because they immediately, within 3 days, sent me one. And that's what I'm guessing is why they didn't. And in the manual, it warns you that the outputs, there's 2 output jacks, audio output jacks on the back, which are supposed to connect some headphones or some earbuds, but they've got to be stereo. Now it says in the manual that you can use a mono, this is 1/8 inch mono plug, but be careful not to plug it all the way in because it'll short the output of the integrated circuit, that is the audio amplifier. And that could be what happened, is the previous guy that did the demo, he shorted it out and forgot to tell them, hey, there's a problem with it. Please check into it before you send it to the next person. That's my guess. I don't know if that's the case, but that's my guess. So anyway, so much for all that hoopla. So I've been putting off doing, I thought I had plenty of time to do that on the show, but I haven't. I've used up my time. I've been putting off doing this show, and it's just time to move on, do something. So what I was going to do is what I've been doing lately to try to keep my shows down to about 10 minutes. When I review a radio, is I talk about the radio, its functions and stuff like that, and then for a separate show, I actually turn the radio on and let you listen to it and play with it and keep that separate instead of trying to do my run off the mouth thing about the radio and what it does and all its functions, and then in the same show try to demonstrate it working. I recently started separating those two into 2 shows. So I can do that now because I still have the one that has no audio output and talk about it. And then when they send me the new one that they're building up a new kit for me. And I got this in a kit form because, they can recycle for a demo, a kit form. They couldn't, a pre-wired kit as opposed to a kit, which is pieces. So that's why they sent me a wired one, and that's what I wanted anyway, because I didn't want to take the time wiring it, because I wasn't paying for it. Does that make sense? Anyway, it's Sunday night. It's Easter. Happy Easter, everybody. And so I'm a little tired. So anyway, for no further ado, this is a multiband regenerative receiver. Now, regenerative receiver is something that was designed way back, and it was very basic, not a lot of components radio, and the general concept is that the RF would come in, go through a detector, and that detector would go through a stage or two, and then feed back that signal, regenerative, and amplify it by feeding it back and doing that a couple of times, and therefore increasing the gain of that input signal. Does that make sense? Tell me if I'm wrong. But anyway, so that's what a regenerative receiver is. So it's very simple, and you'll see that this is a very simple radio, but it's kind of neat. And unfortunately, I don't know what the receive and sensitivity quality is going to be because this one doesn't work. Anyway, so it has, I will show you the little gem here, and I'm going to try to bring this to the camera instead of moving the camera back and forth. So I hope this works. So it's pretty small. Okay, here's the little gem. And I'm sorry for all reflections and everything. And over here we have the band selection. There's 5 bands, and I'll tell you what those 5 bands are. This is the where is it? This is the tuning knob to tune the radio. The next one is the Regenitive knob. So you adjust how much feedback you get, and then you adjust it to a point where it goes into some state where it doesn't work anymore because it's just oscillating on itself. So you have to tune that, keeps amplifying, and stop. Okay, if that makes sense. And then the last one over here is volume, which does no good on this one because there's no audio output. Sorry about that. So anyway, and then on the back, there is antenna connections over here. There's a RF gain little knobby-do there. And then over here are the two output audio jacks that they warn you, don't use mono. If you do, be very careful or you'll blow the output, which I think was what happened. So anyway, I'll take the cover off. Now, first problem with this. And it's not a big problem, but it's easily fixed. Especially if you build this thing yourself, you can fix it as you're building it. And it's very easy to fix if you buy it pre-wired. And that is, you have to take the cover off, which there are 8 screws you have to take off, to get to this little clip. Whoops. Right down here is a 9-volt battery holder, and then that's the connector right there that connects the 9-volt battery. So this is powered by a 9-volt battery. And you have to take the cover off to insert it and to replace it. So that's a little bit of a drawback. Now, it's very simple. Since this is a kit and this kind of says you're into building things, especially if you buy the kit and don't buy a pre-wired one, when you put it together, you can have this battery connector brought to the outside. You can either use one of these existing holes and kind of come around the corner, run that wire around the corner, or you can drill another hole for the battery. And so then you don't have to take the cover off each time. Put a little mounting bracket for the battery or Velcro or whatever, and have it on the outside. So that's not a big deal. Now, looking inside, you'll see there's not a whole lot to it. And this little guy here is an integrated circuit. It's in a dip socket, and that's the audio amplifier, which I think is the problem. Now, since this is a loaner, I'm not going to go in there and do any troubleshooting. So I'm just going to leave it alone. So that's the innards of the radio. Yeah. See if I can hold it right. I hope I don't drop it. Okay, there, right there, if you can see it moving right here, that's the tuning capacitor. And then you have your regenerative knob, your volume, and your band select, and then this is the power on-off switch, which illuminates when it's on. So I put the 9-volt battery in, pushed the button, the light came on, but I didn't hear anything. Nah. And I know I'm going deaf, but I wasn't totally deaf. So anyway, that's what the innard looks like. Very compact. So if you bought the kit, it wouldn't take you long to assemble this guy. And you'd get the thrill of making it. The instructions that comes with it, how to put it together, pretty straightforward. The circuit, they give you the schematic, pretty easy to troubleshoot. And then, okay, let me just set this down, since you've seen the radio. Back here in the back, someplace, it's got a limited 12-month warranty. And it says, okay, here it says the warranty is not void for owners who attempt to repair the defective units. It says technical consultation is available by calling their service department. Isn't that cool? And I've talked to their service department about other things, equipment I own, and they're pretty good about it. So that's kind of cool. Okay. So, it's, like I said, it's 5 bands in the manual. Oh, gosh, I'm up to 15 minutes already. In the manual, it tells you what the 5 bands are and what their uses are. I didn't mean for this to run so long. So the first band is 3.5 to 4.3 megahertz. The next one is 5.85 to 7.4 megahertz. The next one is 9.5 to 12 megahertz. Turn the page. Moving on. The fourth one is 13.2 to 16.4. The last range is 17.5 to 22 megahertz. So it's basically, but not continuous, 3.5 to 22 megahertz. So that's the bands, HF receiver type bands you can tune on this thing. I did do some searching on Google of comments and reviews of people who have built a kit and or own it. And it's about 25 not so happy, 75% happy. I think the happy people are the fact that they get to put it together and see it work, and that's cool. And I would agree with that. That was cool. I mean, even if I never used it after I built it and got it working, that would be cool just putting it together. Now, it sells for, and I'm not exactly sure the price, but this is approximately right. It sells for $75 for the kit and $100 pre-wired. I think that's the numbers. I should have pulled out my catalog, but you can look it up. What the heck? So anyway, that's what I'm reviewing. Once they sent me the new one and it's working okay, then I'll do another show that shows you its receiving capabilities, band selection, all that good stuff. So that's the radio. Now, the other thing, and the reason I wanted to go ahead and do the show tonight, is for my 100th show, I'm going to give away something. And what I'm going to give away is this little gem. And I did a review of this, and I really liked it. This is a Coby shortwave radio. It's digital display, but it's analog tune. If you see, go back to my video of this, it gives you the details. But this little gem works pretty good for what it is. It only costs $12. So, you know, and this is part of my concept of my store, my Amazon store. And I really appreciate it because I've been getting quite a few people that have been going through my store and buying some. I really appreciate that. And what I do is Amazon gives me a credit, and then I can buy something against that credit that I use for a display unit on my show, and then give it back to the people who've helped me by going through my Amazon store. And this is another case of doing it. So I bought this through my little profits commission from Amazon through my Amazon store, where you guys gone through my store, bought something, I got a little commission. I bought it with those funds. And so I'm going to give it back to the audience in the form of a contest. And the contest rules are really simple. All you have to do is make a comment on the show that I want to be in the contest. And then what I'll do is for the show that I finish the review, and maybe before that in case I don't get that radio and I don't get a chance to review, I'll announce the winner. You know, put the names in the hat, or the IDs from YouTube in the hat, and give it away to one of you listeners. Now, There is one restriction, and I hate to do this restriction, but it just makes it so much simpler for me, is only continental U.S. people living in the continental USA can enter the contest. Because trying to go through the problems with shipping this out of the country, just not worth it. I hate to do that because a lot of my listeners are out of the continental USA. So I apologize for that, but I'm trying to think of some other way I can do this so that I don't have to deal with that sending out of the United States thing. So anyway, if you live or have an address I can ship this to in the continental USA, you can enter the contest by leaving me a comment and saying, enter me into the contest, the 100 show contest. And then I'll draw a name out of the hat. And like I say, I'll do it either when I get the other review, other radio, the other MFJ radio, and do the final review, or before April 15th, we'll say. April 15th is the cutoff date, and in that show, or show around that date, or before that date, I will pull a name out of the hat and give this away. Give this little cool shortwave portable radio. What do you think? Good idea? Leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.